What's up, tax savers? My name is Tyler McBroom, and we are in the middle of a series that I am doing with QuickBooks to educate business owners on the importance of payroll and walk through all the elements of how to make sure they're doing it correctly for their businesses. And we're on the third of 4 videos. On the first video, we covered the high-level components of what payroll is. Next, we took a deep dive into some critical tips and habits you can integrate into your business to make sure you're staying the most compliant. And now we're going to dive into how to choose a service provider. So if you've missed those first 2, make sure you go take a look at them right now. So in case you don't know who I am the CEO and managing partner of Measure Results, a CPA firm in California that helps businesses all across the country pay as little tax as legally possible and also figure out where their money is going so they can increase their profits. A couple years ago, we were named an Intuit Firm of the Future, and I'm so excited to be here with you and take this deep dive on how to choose a payroll provider. So, if you are asking yourself, or you're searching the internet for how to choose a payroll provider, you've probably decided that you want some help managing payroll. But what does help look like? See, this can be a complex decision. There are lots of things that you have to weigh. And in this video, I'll be addressing some of the most common questions and top things that you should consider for small business owners and managers who are seeking help with payroll. So what are some things to consider? Well, first, what are the core features of the service you're hiring or the provider that you're using? Next, how easy is it to use? Third, what does it cost? What is the brand reputation? Is it a big company or a little guy that you're hiring? What are some of the additional services that are included with the provider? Things like accounting, HR, health benefits, and workers' comp. These are critical, and we'll get into those in deep detail a little later. Next, what kind of customer support do they provide? How easy or difficult is it to switch? We've all had that issue where it's a disaster switching. Integrations. What integrations and different types of software can be included and worked into as a one-stop shop with the provider that you're using? And last, how much control do you want to have over this process? That's going to be a major driver in your decision. Do you want to just do it all yourself with a chicken scratch and a calculator? Do you want to use software but still maintain most of the control? Or maybe you want to use software and just offload it and make sure that it's all getting done correctly and automatically. Or last, maybe you just want to outsource it completely. You hire an accountant or a bookkeeper or another payroll service provider to just take it off your hands and do it for you. So those are the kind of the different options depending on how much control you want to maintain over the process. So we mentioned features at the beginning of that list. What are some of the core features that should be included with the payroll solution? Well, first, it should be automated. You want to make sure that the payroll happens on a regular schedule. You're legally required to pay your team on a regular schedule at least monthly. So you want to make sure that the payroll provider you're using works that into their system. Next, make sure those taxes and forms, not just how you're paying your people is automated, but also how you're filing and staying compliant with your taxing authorities. Make sure that's automated as well so that you don't end up racking up a bunch of penalties and interest. Third, what sort of mobile time tracking features are available within the service and the provider that you're using? We live in a mobile world, and especially if you have a company that requires a workforce to be out and about in different locations, it's critical that you at least consider whether or not they have the ability to track their time mobily. Next, how soon is the direct deposit available after you run payroll? Is it at least next day or ideally available as same day? Because cash is king. This is really going to improve your cash flow. We talked about in video 2 the importance of keeping a budget and creating a cash flow forecast. Having direct deposit where you can run payroll as late as possible to then have the cash taken out right after that allows you to keep your cash in your business, which helps you exercise power and have a lot more flexibility. Next, what about the setup and support? is the team that's working on onboarding you onto the provider a team of experts, or are they just kind of figuring it out and working through it as they go with you? Next, having a good culture is important, and part of that is making it easy for your team. So do you have a portal where your team can kind of log in, submit their PTO, plug in their time easily? They're not having to write it all down on a piece of paper and then go do it after the fact. Having a portal where they can interact with and track their time easily is a critical component and a feature that you want to consider as well. And last, you got to know your numbers. So having good reporting features so that you know where your payroll's going, what's going to taxes, what's going to wages. Robust reporting features are definitely an element that you want to consider in the overall core feature set that you're looking at. How about costs? What is the general cost for a payroll solution? Well, typically, if you're using some sort of payroll software, it usually starts around $20 a month and then goes up from there, depending on what you and your business need and the features that you're looking for. And different features drive the cost differently. So what are some of those features that drive the cost up or down? Number one, how many employees do you have? This is critical because the more employees, obviously you're going to spend more if you have 100 employees versus if you only have 2 employees. If you've got additional service requirements within, if you're adding an accounting solution, that's going to add more to it. If you're adding more, all those features above that we discussed, as you pick and choose more and more of those features versus just a bare bones product, that's going to drive the cost up as well. Next, how tolerant are you on paying for your own penalties? There are some providers out there that at the higher levels of their service, they'll cover the penalties for you. And this is just going to depend on your own personal tolerance of you'd rather save the money. It's kind of like if you buy a warranty when you're buying a piece of electronic equipment. If you are the person who usually doesn't buy the warranty, you probably won't choose the option where they cover the penalties. If you're the person who always buys that warranty, you probably want to pay a little more on your payroll provider, and then your penalties are covered if something bad happens. Next, how much do you love running that payroll yourself? And how confident are you that if you run it yourself, it's going to be accurate? So if you're less confident and kind of just want it out of your hands, you're probably going to go with the more robust automated payroll software or hiring someone out to do it for you. If that's something that you really just love doing, then maybe you'll pick the option where you're more in the DIY, do-it-yourself, lower side of the software. Or most people don't choose the chicken scratch, but that is an option too. Next, how much do you have it all consolidated in one place? If you've got all the different financial management tasks and components, payroll, accounting, HR, all of that, where you're getting it all in one place instead of piecemeal in different service providers, that of course is going to drive the cost up because you're handling more items in one portal. So, speaking of additional services and additional financial management tasks, what are some of those components, the additional service components? Well, first, mentioned health benefits. So some payroll service providers actually integrate the ability to pay your health benefits and provide that directly through the payroll service. Next, working with your HR and professional advisors to make sure you've got your HR rules in place and that you're staying compliant, not just from a forms and payment standpoint, but from an HR policy rule standpoint as well. Beyond that, there's workers' compensation. So workers' compensation is a critical component to make sure you're covered from a liability standpoint and just a financial protection standpoint, make sure you've got workers' compensation covered. So is that worked into your payroll provider, or do you have to go separately and get that through a different provider? Next, I mentioned that risk tolerance piece. Are you protected if you do have tax penalties, or do you have to come out of pocket and shell the dough out for that if you miss a deadline? That's definitely an additional service factor to consider. And then, of course, the setup and switching support. If you're switching, payroll is one of those things. There's no lag in payroll because if you pay your team every 2 weeks and you switch payroll providers, if more than 2 weeks goes by and you miss a paycheck, that's a big uh-oh. So you've got to make sure that you've got customized setup and support through that switching process. And then, of course, are you working your accounting package in with your provider? That's that integration piece. So are you hiring someone to do your accounting? Are you doing it yourself but through software? And are you working that in with your payroll provider? And that's a perfect transition into discussing integrations within your payroll provider. So many payroll providers have options to integrate different softwares. So as an example of that, what does that look like in real life? So on QuickBooks Online, when it kind of first came out, you could put in your time. However, you couldn't use a clock or track your time in a more robust way. And so QuickBooks went out and they fully integrated a program called T-Sheets that now allows you to run clocks, do job costing, and do all of that. And it's integrated in a one-stop shop, literally in real time, with QuickBooks Online Payroll. And so that's the type of situation that I mean when I say integration. So what are some other areas of integration that you should consider, and how does it work with your payroll provider or not? The first one is your accounting system. Does your accounting system talk to your payroll provider? That's a critical one. Next, time tracking. I mentioned T-Sheets. So T-Sheets and QuickBooks Online work together to allow you to track your employees' time and then pay them. Job costing, that's another element of T-Sheets, not to keep hounding that, but those are critical elements. So are you able to, in the previous video, we talked about the importance of tracking your employees' time, not just for compliance sake, but for profitability's sake. So do you have a job costing feature that integrates within your payroll so that you know where your money's going and where your jobs are being more profitable or less profitable? Does it integrate with a POS, a point of sale system, so that you're tracking your time and your payroll integrated to how you're selling your products? Next, how about expense management? So budgeting and knowing where your money is going is critical. So in addition to your accounting software itself, there's also managing your expenses separately, and there's systems that are used to manage that. So does it integrate with your payroll provider? And of course, just general business management systems. If you're managing your workflow or different project management, how does your payroll software integrate with those business management systems? Now, why would someone integrate and want to make sure that they're all working together in sort of a one-stop integration shop? Well, first, it's going to save you time. The more you can do in one place without having to duplicate and put an address in here, an address in here, an address in here, it's also going to reduce errors. And that's two different types of errors. One is you're not going to type an address wrong. It's also going to reduce tax errors. If the payroll software integrates incorrectly with your accounting software, and when you're doing tax planning, you have the wrong expense, or your payroll doesn't report properly to the tax authorities, you're going to have tax errors and possibly have more penalties. So integrating it all into one place reduces those tax errors. It also allows for real-time data. If your payroll provider links up with your accounting provider and it does it in real time, then you can see exactly how much you're paying in payroll relative to what you're bringing in income. The other piece, on the job costing side of things, in real time, you can see where your time is going and what that's costing you on different customers and different jobs. It's also going to improve accuracy as far as the duplications of the different, having to enter the same thing multiple times into different softwares. So that's the integration piece of it. How about ease of use? Why is making it easy so important? Well, we live in a high-paced, everyone's busy world. So if things get bogged down because they're difficult or complicated or just frustrating, it's just going to make your life not fun. So how easy is the payroll solution? So first, you want to make sure it's easy to get set up for the reasons we talked about before, of payroll is an ongoing, always running thing. You want to make sure it's easy to actually run payroll. How complicated is it to plug in hours or actually get your employees paid? That's, of course, important to stay easy. We want to make sure that it's easy to stay compliant. We don't want to get in trouble with the taxing authorities. We don't want to end up owing a bunch of penalties or interest. So you want to make sure it's easy to stay compliant. We want to make sure that it's easy to stay on top of cash flow. Cash is king in good economies and bad, but especially if anything takes a downturn, we want to make sure that you're on top of your cash flow so that you know you have enough money in the bank to pay your people. And so you want to make sure that you've got a process that makes it easy to stay on top of that. And then, of course, easy to partner with your accountant. Do they have visibility, or do you have to send them PDF reports every time you run payroll? And then maybe it's not real time. You want to make sure that whatever you're using, that it's very easy for your accountant to access it in real time as well. So part of it being easy is you've got good customer support. So when you're talking about customer support, what should a small business owner look for? Well, you want to make sure you can get in touch with them. So are they accessible for your business? Can you actually speak to a human? When it comes to challenging issues, you want to be able to speak with a real person. But other times you just want to be able to go search and find it yourself. So do they have a robust help center that has useful self-serve materials that allows you to just go find that really quickly for yourself? How about the brand of the company that you're hiring? What are some of the benefits of working with the larger, sort of more well-branded, well-known payroll providers? Well, usually they have more resources for that robust customer support that you're looking for. They also have a brand that it's out public in the in the face of business owners. So them evolving and improving and creating regular product improvements is a critical component to maintaining that brand. So they're going to be regularly improving their products. Next, their brand's on the line with compliance too. So they're going to have the resources to make sure that you're always staying up to date on that compliance piece of payroll. And of course, security is critical when it comes to payroll because you're dealing with social security numbers, sensitive data, what people are being paid, actual money, the flow of cash. So they're going to be able to provide you with more robust, concrete data security. Next, you know they're not going to go out of business. They've been around for a while. If they're a big brand, they're most likely going to go and be available in business in the future. Actually, so I've got a story about that. When I was a kid, I won a contest, and as part of that contest, they flew us from down to Hollywood, and we did a couple little Hollywood tour. And when they put us on an airline, it was this dinky little airline that we had never heard of before, and it was a 3-day trip. And during that 3-day trip, we came back and we got to the airport, and it turned out that airline went out of business literally while we were down in Hollywood. And so they didn't offer to send us on a different airline. They just gave us the keys to a rent-a-car, and we had to drive home. And so you don't want to hire the rinky-dink airline version of a payroll provider, and then suddenly you pick up the phone when the next payroll's due, and you can't get a hold of them, and then you can't get your team paid. So that's a very important element of hiring a well-branded, well-known payroll provider. So that is the key element and components of what you should look for in a payroll provider. And if you're a small business who's kind of just getting off the ground, it's yourself or maybe a couple other employees, QuickBooks Online Payroll has put together an amazing suite of services, and we're going to kind of dive into, in the next video, an overview of that QuickBooks Online Payroll so it can help you decide if maybe that's the right service that you should use. We'll see you on that one.